I'm going to read my statement. Hi. Smoking is bad for you. I shouldn't be smoking, but if you've been through as much stress as I have, you'd be smoking too, right? My home is here in Tonopah. My home is a crime scene, and it's under active investigation by the Nye County District Attorney's Office. I've been victimized by a crime. Surprise, surprise. Once again. This time it involves the home that I purchased in Tonopah, 1610, Shadskill. I initially reported the crime on July 4th, 2025, when I was in Port Townsend, Washington, dealing with another crime. And I came down to Tonopah, Nevada to inspect my home and report it in person on August 4th. Since then, I've been reporting on subsequent crimes, such as those on August 5th and August 6th. In regards to my personal safety, that's what Alvin are here for. Property theft, property damage, and most recently, yesterday, August 24th, just yesterday, I reported something so heinous and cruel. It was the destruction of my personally identifying documents. It clearly proves that an individual or individuals are behind the theft of my identity, or potential theft of my identity. We don't know what they've done with my identity yet, or have we, or do we? So I'm currently in Tonopah dealing with this unprecedented crisis instead of being at Burning Man, which is fine. I've never gone anyway, although it's been a big part of my life. More on that later. Anyway, I have several commitments that are time sensitive involving home inspections by my insurance company, as well as communicating with law enforcement agencies, especially that of Nye County, Nevada. The one thing that I've gotten really good at is, better at, I think the deputies who know me, they coach me, they say, to the point, Truman, but I've, especially to Nye County, Nevada. I'm working closely with law enforcement. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's not. It depends on who's there, who's the reporting officer. Oh yeah, I'm done. Thank you. I can't smoke a whole one. I try to cooperate as best as possible, given the overlapping circumstances, to preserve my personal safety, number one, keep my family and home safe, and prevent further losses. Currently, getting in the car and driving to Washington State presents logistical challenges at best, along with the risk of further harm to me, including excessive financial and emotional stress that I do not need. I do not need any more stress, nor do my friends who I have adopted as my family. They don't really know that yet, but haha, lucky them. It's difficult because I have a pre-trial hearing on September 3rd, and I asked my public defender today to request on my behalf to grant me the ability to appear remotely for that. I hope that's granted, because there's another court case that same day regarding the same person, my soon-to-be, what time is it anyway? Ex-husband. Can't wait for that ball to drop. Well, in this case of my soon-to-be ex-husband, which is public knowledge, Devlin Andrew Dudley, who lives somewhere on this planet. I don't talk to him, and this is not third-party contact. But there's another court case here in Tonopah that I'm getting choked up about. The day that he got out of jail, he was stirring up a bunch of shit at my friend's house. And he was antagonizing people and attacking people. A man in self-defense, made contact with his face, with his fist, is facing criminal charges for attacking Dudley. I've seen Dudley get off too many times on violent crimes, and I don't want to see another friend of mine. I'll just say can I say his first name? It's pretty much common knowledge. Gibbs. I don't want to see that man who is a defender of women, who is hella cool and trying to stay on the right side of the law, like myself, like yourself, like yourselves. I don't want to see another person go to jail because of the lies of my ex-husband. I want to show up in court and help him with his defense. And so I'm really hoping that the judge will grant me the ability to appear in Zoom again. I don't know why she denied or revoked that privilege of me. It's a reasonable accommodation considering the heinous crimes that I've just fallen victim of here in Nevada. It's not my fault that this happened to me. And it's sure as fuck isn't my fault that I went to jail. Not at all. Homeboy Alvin, you know what it's like to be wrongfully incarcerated. You know, you feel like that. You know? Anyway, I'm hoping to provide a statement of the following to the law, to the courts, to keep order in this fine land that we live in, because I believe that I'm a good person, and I believe that good people have a duty to call people on their shit. I believe that good people, to be truly a good person, you know, what that means to me is standing up for yourself, saying no to abusers, like my soon-to-be ex-husband. Waiting on that one still. I'm tired of being abused, and I'm tired of having my truth rewritten by motherfuckers who want to take advantage of me and use me for my assets, use me for my money. I know I have more than most, and I've made it a personal motto of my life to share when I can. The only thing that I expect from others is to not stab me in the back. Well, that takes me to this next paragraph. Everything that I'm about to read is true. And it all really got going on the date of my wedding, September 23rd, 2025. And it goes to now. You know, that's 10 months. That's enough time to have a baby and be barely recovered. But the shit that motherfucker has put me through, I'm done. I'm tired of his lies. I'm tired of the way that he has manipulated justice in an effort to control me and to somehow paint himself above the law. And I am tired of it. I actually talked with the victims group and the Human Trafficking Resource Line, and they said, you have every right to tell your story. I said, I'm not going to be violating or jeopardizing your court case, am I, if I make this public knowledge? They said, nope. It's your story, sister. Straight from the mouths of mandatory reporters. So this is true. Now, I'm not going to read all 17 pages of it, but what I am going to do is state that I was harmed and physically, sexually, financially, and maliciously, which accumulated in wrongful incarceration, malicious prosecution by my ex-husband. I'm sitting here to this day, scratching my head going, why? Is it because I loved too much? Is it because I put his concerns before mine? Probably. But does that make me a criminal? It doesn't. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cases in the courts of the states of Washington and Nevada that I am bringing to the attention of both district attorneys. But the one that I want to talk about first has to do with my previous video, that you matter. And that court case is one in which my mental competence was challenged, and I was wrongfully civilly committed due to lies by my husband. These lies spread like a wildfire. These lies infected the minds of my stepmother, who bought them, who wanted to believe something bad about me. So much so that she thought she knew what was right for me. It infected the minds of my ex-husband, Pete, the father of my children, who to this day refuses to let me see my children, refuses my calls, has done everything to keep my children away from me, has driven a line so firmly in the sand that I've only seen my daughter once in a year. She's 14. I'm her mom, and I love my daughter, and I love my son. I have charges that took my disability of neuromuscular origin and turned it into these egregious and false charges that were filed into my public record for Superior Court in Thurston County. This needs to be known, and it needs to be presented to the district attorneys of Nevada and Washington and to everyone else, because it documents the harm that my ex-husband, soon to be Dudley, harmed me through misusing justice and using the law so he could continue to use drugs, abuse me, and abuse himself, thus abusing his children and my children, my home, my money, wasting my assets, burning me to the ground. In this case, fortunately, a fact that I am joyous over, the petitioners failed to meet the burden of proof. You know what that means? I was wrongfully civilly committed. They failed to meet the burden of fucking proof. Rajwant Clare, ARNP, of South Sound Behavioral Hospital of Lacey, James Fison, MS, MHP, and a mental health professional, Carol Rue Kirk, acting as a designated crisis responder from Port Townsend, Washington, attempted to civilly commit me for 90 days on the basis that I was grievously disabled. Oh my God. I'm getting choked up. Pardon me here. Why is this relevant? Why am I talking about it in the context of my criminal cases, all 4 of which I'm pleading not guilty to? Because Dudley was involved in spreading these lies, along with his ex-partner, along with others. And this resulted, and others through their passivity and their inability to stand up for me. And this resulted in my wrongful civil commitment and forcible incarceration from my home when I was at work, shortly after I filed a restraining order of protection in Washington State against the same man. I wasn't able to appear for that protection order because I was wrongfully held. South Sound Behavioral Health actually prevented me from appearing in court, and that very fact was used against me when I went in front of court defending myself from jail. I didn't have a chance. I saw in my file that they held my Zoom information from me. I asked them for it. I saw it there. I said, please give me my Zoom information so I can attend court. No, you can't do it. The social worker, the CNAs, the nurses, they're all guilty of a crime of abuse and neglect. Yeah, I have a fucking mental health condition. It's called mad at the world. Technically, it's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Sure, that's serious. But I actually think I'm doing pretty well. Seizures, gone. The further I get away from Dudley, better off I am. The more I surround myself with people who actually care about me as a person, who respect my boundaries, who also take care of themselves, who respect their own personal space and boundaries. We're all working together, But I assure you, I am not grievously disabled. They labeled me grievously disabled. Do people even know what that means? I was shocked that they did that they accused me of having rapid pressured speech and whatever. That happens when people are bipolar, on a swing, and they can't control themselves. I'm emphatic, yes. I am a sensitive, emotional person, yes. I'm an artist. I'm a performance artist. I was accused by people of being on drugs. You want to see my drug of choice? Cigarettes. Not a good one. And coffee. Cheers to the revolution. Caffeine will fuel the revolution. To all you super moms out there, super dads, super kids, super people. Accused of this wrongfully, yes. However, the only rationale to detain me, remove me from my home, lock me up in a maximum security mental institution in September and October, were hastily copied and pasted mistruths that match verbatim the description of what an ITA is. This came from a mental health professional named in my file as Carol Ruekirk, the designated crisis responder. What on earth is a designated crisis responder? Well, one of the reasons why I'm here in Nevada is they don't have legislation like that. And this very role, which was a liberal agenda item added to the legislation of Washington State, supported by liberals and Democrats, is a backfire, people. And that's why I'm saying, fuck you, Washington State. Although I just contradicted myself because I actually respect Washington State greatly. I don't respect the people who thoughtlessly enacted this law that supports 7071 initiatives that give control over people's lives to the courts, some of which are non-elected officials. Even elected officials can misinterpret the 7071 law, which is similar to California's 5150. I am not suicidal. I have never had a suicide attempt. I've never had suicidal ideation. But somehow these people mistyped something, or they were hurried and overworked, and they used something that I said against me. It was ridiculous. I'm not a harm to myself. I'm not a harm to others. Yeah, I get upset, but like, I actually honestly never hit anybody. I've never attacked anyone. I mean, I can't even throw a punch. I took Taekwondo and kickboxing. I do have some anger issues, but like, I work through them. I don't have unchecked rage. I've never been charged with road rage or any crime. You know, it's bullshit. I just call it as it is, and I especially hate mistruths, especially when these mistruths resulted in libel and slander by my husband, Devlin, by my stepmother, Joanne Rittmuller, by my ex-husband, Peter James Murney, and the flippant comments and phone call made by Zan Renee Levine, who called the DCR and fucked me over. They can't live with their guilt. For this, can I ever forgive them? Yeah. Do I want to? No. Are they scared of me? No, they're probably just mocking me, as they usually do. I'm the black sheep of the family. Can't you tell by my groovy jewelry? Actually, all this jewelry is stuff that was returned to me. Some gifts from my friends, found in my stolen vehicle, found in my stolen property, scattered all over town. I found these earrings in 2 different places. I made these earrings in 1993 in Chicago, in Geneva, Illinois. Anyway, after the petitioner failed to meet the burden of proof, guess what? I was released into the hands, picked up by a man who I'd filed a no contact order against. He said he loved me. This man brought me to my home, 4438 Lopez Avenue, proceeded to immediately abuse me. He was smoking copious amounts of drugs, and I was shocked to get out of the hospital and witness this. And I needed to get out of that situation fast. On October 24th, he started to burn all my court documents. If I wouldn't have been brave enough to reach my hands into the fire and pull them out, I wouldn't have a shred of evidence to support my cases. Because it's those documents that I saved that have kept me alive. And that's why I'm so upset about the crimes that were committed against me here in Tonopah. Dudley and a man named Nathan Jensen, along with 2 other people who are part of an active investigation, who have been named, were complicit in the thievery of my identity, in the destruction of my home, in the destruction of my personal property. Fueled by what? Jealousy. Fueled by their own insecurities, their own hate. Fear isn't the problem, people. It's hate. Fear is actually a good thing. If you don't have fear, you're a sociopath. Dudley doesn't have fear. He fakes it. He says he's afraid of me. He's not. Jensen doesn't have fear. The other 2 people, the guy that got me my trailer back, he fears the law, so I respect him. He's trying. Good on him. But these other 2, their self-righteous indignation is going to bury them. You can't fix broken. I ain't broken. I know my breaking point. I know when to ask for help, and I know when to run. I fled Port Townsend. Devlin was hiding in my car. He broke the no contact order. Scary. But you know what? That brings me back to that night of October 24th, when he disrupted my life so badly. He was screaming at me, and he barricaded himself in the garage. The same sergeant that arrested me for domestic violence when I told him that it was Devlin who said he was trying to kill me, was the one on the scene. He believed Devlin's lies on October 24th of 2024, and he believed Devlin's lies again on May 4th. Devlin twisted the truth so poorly, or well, I guess. He twisted the truth high on whatever drugs he was on. And this sergeant, as I remember so vividly, yelled at me as I cowered in my bed after I had called 911, and he threatened to arrest me. Why? Dudley told him that I stole his phone. I didn't steal his phone. This was when Dudley learned he could easily manipulate this particular sergeant. He must have became friends with him when he worked for the city. He had to have. Anyway, it resulted in me developing a very real fear of Dudley, that he wanted to cause me harm. It also caused me to fear police. My suffering continued at Dudley's hand. Because I was married to him, he browbeat me. He gaslit me. He used every narcissistic tool in the book. And he did this continually as I suffered not only domestic abuse, but sexual abuse from him. And I also suffered domestic abuse from a former partner with whom I have a restraining order against, and another former partner. I have been a victim of the crime at the hands of my husband. I am not mentally incompetent. My mental illness is nothing more than stress and trauma based. And you know what's cool about the human body? If you care for your body and you get sleep and nourishment, you can heal. You can heal from trauma. That's what I'm doing. I am not guilty of the charges that are brought against me by Jefferson County District Court of Washington State. My only ask is, if I have to stand trial, I will read every single word of this statement to the jury, and that the prosecution reviews my statement so that justice may be served to those who have harmed me. Then I can get on with my life pursuing my law degree. Thank you very much. I believe fully, and it hurts because I think he got off on the charges of when he sprayed me in the face with starter fluid on March 12th, 2024. I believe Devlin Andrew Dudley will, without a doubt, continue to abuse other women. This is my opinion, which I care to make public. I'm not making third-party contact. I never did break the no contact order. But I believe that he'll continue to abuse other women in his future relationships. This is something I believe. This isn't libel or slander or bad-mouthing him. This is a statement of my opinion. He's gonna do it sexually, emotionally, psychologically, and financially. Just waiting for the next person he can find, the next attractive older woman. Fuck you. I have evidence to support my innocence. It's documented in the 911 call logs, statements made to the Port Townsend Police Department, Clallam County Sheriff, Nye County Sheriff, and other law enforcement agencies, including Pinal County Sheriff, Arizona, Payson, Arizona Police Department, Queen Creek, Arizona Police Department, and the FBI. I've reported to the Human Trafficking Hotline, a mandatory reporter, the violence I've been subjected to by Dudley. These reports are evidence that documents my story as a victim, but more importantly, it documents that I am resilient, proactive, and independent. I'm a woman who can rise above trauma and stand proud as a survivor from the traumatic and abusive events I was forced to endure and suffer from the man I married on September 23rd, 2024, Devlin Andrew Dudley. My promise to the U.S. government, the states of Washington, California, Arizona, and Nevada is that I will no longer tolerate being abused. I will no longer tolerate being abused by those who manipulate justice to serve their own means. I will do everything it takes to prevent harm of me from further domestic violence. I seek to assure those who seek to protect me that not only am I brave enough, strong enough, and ready to help the states in the prosecution of those who committed sexual abuse against me, but I'm stronger than ever. The more time spent away from my abusers, the better I feel, and that includes some members of my family. My commitment and resolve continues to strengthen. It has taken me 40 years to gather this strength, as I was first victimized at age 14 when I was trafficked in San Jose, California. I was never allowed to speak to police about my abusers. My mom didn't want it to be known. However, I now know who my abusers are. I respectfully ask the United States government and the states to stand by me as I work towards justice. Thanks.